Chapter 4 Nova. There was a tree stump. It wasn't much as tree stumps go, all cracked and weathered, with some fungus growing on the north side, well on its way to becoming one with the earth. But next to the stump stood a baby horse. Now, those who know about such things will immediately interject, "You mean a foal, Miss Narrator?" To which I say, you're right, I do mean a foal. But as I'm trying to be as optimistic as possible about the readership of this story, and since it's just possible that some of those readers might not know that a foal is a baby horse, and since this is one of the 2 or 3 most important parts of the story, I didn't want those unhorsed readers to hit that foal word and scratch their collective head and think, "I wonder what he means by that," and have one of the 2 or 3 most important parts of the story happen while they're in the attic, shuffling through stacks of their mother's old college books looking for a dictionary, all because they have never in their lives been horseback riding. So there. Anyway, as I was saying, there at the crest of a perfectly symmetrical hill, yada yada, tree stump, blah blah blah, stood a baby horse. It was an exquisite, delicate, adorable little thing, with slender legs that reached all the way to the ground. It looked to be maybe 2 months old, and Amethyst was struck by an odd mixture of impressions. The animal seemed frail yet majestic, dainty yet fierce. It was the whitest of whites all over, except for a red dribble of strawberry juice on its chin. The foal, remember that means baby horse, locked eyes with Amethyst, and whinnied that nickering wind-chime laughter sound again, this time with some sparkles thrown in. Amethyst replied with her most friendly sneeze. "Achoo! Well, hello to you too," she said. It was odd that the little creature, the horse, not Amethyst, wasn't tied or fenced at all. In fact, there were no other farms around for miles. It was as free as a dandelion puff skipping across a wildflower meadow. Amethyst knew she must get to town, in case there was a sudden run on pre-wilted rhubarb, but something in the shimmering foal's gaze wouldn't let her go. What if she could catch it? Massey Ferguson was old and worn from years of pulling a plow. They were going to need a replacement soon. But Amethyst knew she could never catch a horse, even one this young, unless it wanted to be caught. She held out a fistful of rhubarb from her basket and started toward the foal. "Come on now. That's it. That's a good boy." The white foal didn't move. Even this young, the animal had an air of pride and competence about it. Though what a baby horse would have to feel competent about, I don't know. It just stood like a stone, watching Amethyst advance. Staring, staring, closer, closer, staring, closer, pride, competence. Amethyst reached the animal and held forth the rhubarb stalks like a bouquet of flowers without the flower parts. The foal eyed the rhubarb, staring, then raised one eyebrow as if to say, "You want me to eat that?" The foal cautiously sniffed the offering, rhubarb, then nibbled a bit, chewing, chewing. The other eyebrow went up as if to say, "Not bad, kid, not bad at all." Amethyst took a step backward, keeping the rhubarb just out of the animal's reach. The foal took a step forward. Amethyst rewarded him with the rhubarb stalk, then took 2 steps back. The foal took 2 steps forward. Back, forward, chew. Back, forward, chew. You get the idea. Amethyst's basket was nearly empty as they arrived at the lane that led to Amethyst's barn. "Mother, mother!" she called. "Come see what I have found." Her mother appeared at the plank door, wiping her hands on the part of her skirt that she used as a dish rag. When she saw the little horse, her face bloomed into surprised joy. "Oh, well done, Amethyst! Wherever did you find him? Looks like we'll be having supper after all." "Mother!" Amethyst looked shocked. "Perish the thought! I brought him home so he can grow up big and strong and replace Massey Ferguson someday. We have room for him in the barn. I'll muck at his stall, and I promise I'll feed him every day. Can we keep him, Mother? Please?" Amethyst had switched to a whiny sort of voice that you almost never hear from the well-behaved heroines of fairy tales. "Well, surely he belongs to someone." "I found him in the big strawberry patch along the road into town. He was roaming around loose, and there was no one in sight." "Well, I don't know," said Amethyst's mother. "You know we barely have enough hay for ourselves. What would he eat?" "Well," Amethyst offered sheepishly, "he loves rhubarb." "Rhubarb?" Amethyst's mother said in surprise. Rhubarb? She looked thoughtful. Amethyst saw it as a look with real possibilities. Rhubarb. Please! Amethyst gave her a plaintive look. The practicing paid off. All right, said Amethyst's mother. I do not suppose it shall hurt to keep him around a little while to see if he might be of some use. Besides, it will be nice to have someone around who actually wants our rhubarb. Hoo-wah! Amethyst pumped her fist in the air. She fed the white foal another rhubarb stalk. Don't feed him too much. If we don't get some rain soon, I'm afraid we'll lose the rhubarb crop, and there won't be anything to eat at all. When Amethyst's mother said this, the white foal's ears suddenly darted forward, and a strange look clouded his eyes. It was almost as if he had understood her words, if such a thing were possible for a horse. As was their habit, Amethyst and her mother didn't notice. What will you name him, Amethyst? I'm going to call him Nova. Nova, said Amethyst's mother. You mean like an exploding star? Oh, Mother, what an imagination you have, said Amethyst. No, not like an exploding star. You see, Nova is Spanish for it doesn't go, and I never want him to go away. I understand how you feel, but we'll have to sell him if it doesn't work out. Oh, he'll work out, said Amethyst, leading him toward the barn. I'll put him in the barn with Massey Ferguson. Oh, by the way, Mother, what's for supper, if we're having any? The next morning, Amethyst arose at dawn and prepared to go care for the animals. As she left the house, she found the farmyard filled with a thick fog, as if a cloud had grown tired of floating around and had settled on their farm for a rest. It wasn't damp enough to make the ground muddy, but Amethyst noticed the leaves of the rhubarb plants were shiny with wetness. She knew her mother would be glad for the moisture, but Amethyst felt a tinge of unease. You could lose relatives in a fog like this. As she opened the barn door, she wondered if Petunia would give enough milk to... She stopped. Massey Ferguson was standing, sort of, with his rump up in the air, kneeling on his knobby forelegs, with his nose just touching the dirt floor. He was pointed toward Nova, who was peeking out between the boards of his stall. Amethyst had the absurd impression that the old plow-puller was bowing to the white foal. My goodness, Massey Ferguson, what are you doing? Said Amethyst. The old horse struggled to his hooves, looking slightly embarrassed, if such a thing is possible for a horse. Amethyst thought it strange for a moment, but, being the heroine in a fairy tale, wasn't majorly affected by things any normal person would find truly bizarre. She pulled some rhubarb from her basket and began feeding Nova. Petunia the cow gave a whole cup of milk that morning.